The hall of the Galactic Peace Summit was shining with lights. Hundreds of alien species filled the great chamber, each one watching the stage where the leaders stood. This was not an ordinary meeting. This was history. For the first time in centuries, humans had taken a central seat in the Great Council. Humanity had grown strong, and now its voice carried weight across the stars. The human diplomat, Ambassador Rains, stood tall at the podium. His suit was simple, but his presence was heavy. Every eye was on him. Some aliens respected him. Others hated him. Many feared the rising power of humanity. He spoke with calm authority. "War has scarred too many worlds," he said. "But peace is still possible. Humanity does not seek conquest, we seek respect." The crowd shifted, whispers echoing in dozens of alien tongues. Some nodded. Some scoffed. The cameras of 1,000 news networks flashed, recording every word. And then, it happened. A sharp crack tore through the chamber. At first, many thought it was just feedback from the sound system, but the diplomat's body jerked forward. A red hole appeared in his chest. His voice died in his throat. His eyes went wide. Gasps filled the air. Screams followed. The human ambassador fell to the ground, lifeless, as guards rushed to cover him. The summit exploded into chaos. "Aliens!" shouted. Some ducked for cover, others tried to flee the chamber. Security drones flew through the air, scanning for the shooter. But the assassin was already gone, vanished into the shadows of the crowd. The room shook with fear. For a long moment, "No," one spoke. Then the humans roared. The human delegation stood together, their anger burning like fire. "This is no accident," one shouted. "This is murder." Ambassador Rains had been more than a diplomat. He had been a symbol of trust, a bridge between humanity and the galaxy, and now he was dead. The alien leaders tried to calm the storm. A reptilian speaker raised her claws. "Please, control yourselves. We do not know who is responsible." But the humans would not listen. Their commander's voice cut through the panic like a blade. "You ask for patience? You ask for calm? Our people watched their ambassador die in front of the galaxy. If justice is not given, we will make our own justice." The chamber froze. The words carried a deadly promise. Across the galaxy, news of the assassination spread like wildfire. Broadcasts showed the moment again and again. The diplomat's final speech, the sudden shot, the collapse, the human fury. Billions watched in silence. Billions felt the tension rise. Was it an enemy species? Was it a lone killer? Or was it something darker, something planned? No one knew. But one thing was certain: humanity would not forgive. On Earth, cities burned with anger. Millions marched in the streets holding banners of war. "No more peace," they shouted. "No more weakness. The galaxy thinks we are prey. We will show them we are predators." The human government met in secret chambers, their faces grim. Military leaders stood ready. Fleets were already moving. Soldiers were already preparing. Still, questions hung in the air. Who had fired the shot? Why? Who would gain from this chaos? Some alien leaders begged for time. "Investigate first," they said. "Do not let rage guide your hand." But humanity was past patience. A voice was broadcast from Earth to the whole galaxy, a voice that every species could hear. This was not just an attack on one man. This was an attack on our people. If the assassin is not brought to us, if justice is denied, then hear this: humanity will declare war, a war without restraint. The words struck like thunder. Planets shivered. Civilizations panicked. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy feared a storm greater than any they had known, because everyone remembered what humans were capable of. Long ago, before joining the Council, humanity had fought wars on Earth that killed millions. Their history was full of fire and blood. They had survived every threat, every invasion, every empire that tried to break them. They were stubborn. They were relentless. And now, they were furious. In the great silence that followed the speech, The galaxy held its breath. Who had killed the ambassador? Was it a rival power? A hidden enemy? Or was it a trap designed to push humanity into rage? No one knew, but one thing was clear. The balance of peace was broken, and humanity, wounded and angry, was ready to burn the stars. Rising tensions, the galaxy, was no longer the same after the death of Ambassador Rains. Every news broadcast replayed the moment, the sudden shot, the fall, the humans shouting in rage. It spread across thousands of worlds like a dark storm cloud. In the halls of the Galactic Council, fear replaced diplomacy. The chamber that once echoed with debate now trembled with suspicion. Alien leaders whispered behind closed doors. Some feared humanity's anger. Others secretly celebrated it. Humanity had always been a new power among the stars. They were ambitious, fast-growing, and hungry for respect. Many alien species did not trust them. Some even hated them. And now, with their diplomat dead, humanity stood at the edge of war. Inside Earth's capital, the human government sat in a secret meeting. Generals filled the room, their uniforms sharp and cold. Admirals spoke of fleets already prepared. Politicians argued, their voices hot with fury. "The council will delay," one senator shouted. "They will stall as always. They do not care about our loss. They want us weak." Another slammed his hand on the table. "Then let us act first. Let the galaxy know humanity does not forgive." But one old commander raised his voice. His eyes were hard, but his tone was measured. "If we act in anger, we may strike the wrong enemy. Someone wanted this. Someone fired that shot to light this fire. If we burn the wrong world, we play into their hands." The room went silent for a moment, but silence could not hold back the storm. "Enough," the president finally said. "The council has 1 week. 1 week to bring us the assassin. After that, humanity will not wait." Across the stars, the other species argued as well. On the desert world of Zethar, the scaled warlords laughed. "Let the humans rage," they hissed. "They will strike blindly. Their fury will destroy them faster than we ever could." On the ocean planet Eloria, the waterborne diplomats were afraid. "The humans are too dangerous. If they go to war, whole systems will burn. We must calm them, or we all drown together." In the floating cities of the Vayari, whispers spread. What if it was not us? What if it was no one? What if it was something else? Meanwhile, on the streets of Earth, anger grew stronger. Crowds filled the cities, shouting for war. Young men and women signed up for service. Factories burned. With new energy, building ships and weapons faster than ever before, a news anchor's voice echoed through every home. The galaxy thought humanity would bend. Instead, humanity prepares to strike. Children watched. Elders remembered old wars. And across every colony, one thought grew clear. The time of patience was over. But not everyone was blind to rage. Far away, in the shadow of a space station, orbiting a dying star, a young alien envoy named Kale worked quietly. He was small, with silver eyes and fragile hands, but his mind was sharp. He had studied humanity for years. He had seen their victories and their scars, and he knew this assassination was too clean, too perfect, too sudden. This was no random act, Kale whispered to himself. This was a hand pushing 2 empires into fire. He tried to send messages to the Human Council, warnings that they were being deceived. But his words were ignored. Humanity no longer trusted outsiders. Back in the Galactic Council, fear grew. Worse, species began to point fingers. The reptilian warlords accused the insectoid hives. The insectoids accused the waterborne. The waterborne blamed humanity itself, saying they staged the death to gain power. The chamber that once promised peace became a pit of suspicion. No one trusted anyone. And while they argued, humanity prepared. In the orbit of Mars, fleets of warships gathered. Their engines glowed, their weapons charged. Soldiers stood ready in cold metal halls, their faces hidden under helmets. They did not speak of peace. They spoke of revenge. A commander walked among them, his voice calm but sharp. "Remember what they took from us. Remember who spat on our honor. When the order comes, we strike without mercy." The soldiers raised their fists. For Earth! For humanity! And yet in the shadows the assassin remained unknown. Somewhere, hidden far from the chaos, the true hand that fired the shot waited, watching, smiling. Because war was not just coming, it was planned. By the end of the week, the Galactic Council had failed. They had no proof, no assassin, no answers. The humans stood once more before the galaxy. Their leader's voice thundered through every channel, every star system, every world. "You had your chance. You gave us nothing. Now we take what we are owed. From this day forward, know this truth. Humanity does not wait. Humanity does not forgive. Humanity does not stop." The words echoed like a hammer against the stars, and the galaxy trembled, because everyone knew the storm had finally broken. The hunt begins. The galaxy did not sleep after humanity's declaration. Fleets moved, borders closed, trade routes froze. Every world waited for the first strike, the first fire that would turn whispers into war. And then, humanity began the hunt. High above Earth, the flagship Horizon led the charge. It was a dark giant covered in steel armor, bristling with cannons and engines. Inside its command bridge, Admiral Vera stood before a glowing star map. Red markers pulsed across the display. "These are the suspects," she said coldly. "Worlds with reason to hate us. Worlds with the power to send an assassin." Her officers studied the list. The reptilian warlords, the insectoid hives, the shadow guilds of the Outer Rim. Each one had enemies among humans. "Each one had reasons, but we don't have proof," one officer whispered. Vera's eyes narrowed. "Proof is for courts. Justice is for us." With a wave of her hand, the fleet prepared to move. Across human colonies, soldiers boarded ships. Their armor shone under the harsh light of hangars. They checked their rifles, their blades, their heavy suits. No one smiled. No one hesitated. To them, the hunt was simple. Someone had murdered their voice of peace. Someone had spat on humanity before the galaxy. Now blood would answer blood, but not everyone agreed. On the far side of the station Orion Gate, the young alien envoy Kale watched the human fleet gather. His silver eyes were filled with dread. He knew this anger was not natural. It was too quick, too sharp, as if guided by an invisible hand. He tried again to warn them. His message was short, desperate. "You are being used. The assassin was not one of us. Someone is pushing you into a trap." But the humans never replied. His warnings vanished into silence. The hunt began with the reptilian warlords. Their homeworld burned with red deserts and black towers, a place of warriors and pride. Humanity accused them of the murder. Admiral Vera's fleet arrived above their skies. Ships cut through the clouds like blades. The warlords gathered their armies, hissing, preparing for battle. But before the first strike could land, something strange happened. A warlord commander sent a message, broadcast openly for all to hear. "Humans," he growled, "you think we fear you? We did not kill your diplomat, but if you step on our soil, you will learn what fear truly is." His words rang with defiance, but also truth. Even humans watching on Earth wondered, if not the warlords, then who? Still, the fleet prepared their cannons. Inside the flagship, one young officer hesitated. His name was Arik, son of a miner, raised on a colony that once suffered under alien rule. He hated the warlords. He had dreamed of this moment. But something in his heart felt wrong. "What if they are telling the truth?" he whispered. The admiral's cold eyes cut into him. Truth does not matter. Only justice. And with that, the order was given. The first city fell in fire. Human cannons rained destruction from orbit, turning black towers into ash. The warlords roared with rage and struck back, but their weapons were too weak against the fleet's storm. On Earth, crowds cheered. News anchors shouted, "Humanity strikes back. The galaxy learns our strength." But far away in the ruins of the warlord city, hidden evidence was uncovered. Pieces of strange technology, fragments not of reptilian design buried in the rubble. A human intelligence officer moving through the smoke picked one up. His visor scanned it. The device carried a symbol, one no living species had used for centuries. His voice trembled. This isn't theirs. This is something else. But his message never reached the Admiral. It was buried, ignored, lost in the storm of war. While the humans fought, Kyle searched for answers. He dove into archives, decoded fragments of old transmissions, followed whispers across forbidden channels, and what he found chilled him. There were records of ancient machines long destroyed in old wars, machines that had manipulated species before, turning them against one another, feeding on the chaos. Everyone believed they were gone, but Kale saw the patterns, the same hidden hand moving now. The assassin was not alien, he whispered. It was something older. Back in the council, fear grew. Species who once mocked humanity now trembled at their fury. Others prepared their fleets, afraid humanity's fire would turn toward them next. The galaxy, once balanced, was now tilting into chaos. And humanity's hunt was far from over. The reptilian world had burned, but suspicion still spread to others. The insectoid hives, the shadow guilds, the rogue colonies beyond the rim, humanity's fleets prepared for more strikes, more fire, more destruction. And still, the true killer remained free. Somewhere in the void, in the dark silence between stars, the hidden hand smiled, because the plan was working. Humanity was hunting shadows. The galaxy was dividing. And soon, when both sides were weak, the real enemy would rise. The hunt had begun, and it would not stop until the galaxy drowned in fire. First blood, the galaxy burned. News of the human attack on the reptilian world spread across every star system. Images of smoking ruins filled screens. Black towers turned to dust, deserts littered with ash, civilians running under fire. The galaxy had seen wars before, but never with such fury, never with such speed. Humanity had drawn first blood. On Earth, the streets erupted with pride. Crowds cheered in the millions, chanting the names of the fallen diplomat, demanding more victories. For them, this was justice. For them, the warlords had paid the price, but not everyone celebrated. In the council chambers of other species, voices of fear rose higher. If they can do this in one strike, a delegate whispered, what will they do next? The insectoid hives trembled. The waterborne diplomats wept. Even the proud Vayari began to question if humanity could ever be stopped. The galaxy had underestimated humanity's power. Now they watched in silence as humans sharpened their blades for the next target. Inside, the ruins of the reptilian capital, smoke still choked the skies. Human soldiers moved through broken streets, their boots crushing ash. They searched for evidence of the assassination, anything to tie the reptilians to the crime. But what they found was not reptilian. Lieutenant Arik, the young officer who once doubted the attack, crouched over shattered metal in the rubble. His scanner flickered. Strange circuits glowed faintly. Symbols burned into their surface. They were not reptilian markings. They were older, stranger, something out of forgotten records. This doesn't belong here, Arik whispered. He tried to send the discovery up the chain of command, but the Admiral's reply was sharp and final. Evidence or not, the reptiles had reason. They had history. The war is justified. Destroy your doubts, Lieutenant. Arik's chest tightened. He obeyed, but the image of the strange circuits burned in his mind. Far across the stars, Kale, the alien envoy, worked in secret. He intercepted whispers from hidden channels, fragments of transmissions that matched the symbol Arik had seen. They spoke of an old enemy, an ancient intelligence thought long destroyed. They are pushing humanity into fire, Kale said to himself, and the galaxy into its grave. But who would listen? The council was paralyzed with fear. Humanity was deaf with rage. Meanwhile, Admiral Veyra's fleet moved again. Their next target, a mining world allied with the insectoid hives. Humans claimed it was a nest of assassins. The miners sent desperate messages. "We are innocent. We are workers, not killers." But the fleet did not stop. The first strike lit the skies in fire. Mines collapsed. Colonies cracked open under bombardment. Thousands of innocents screamed as they burned. This was no longer justice. This was war without mercy. Across the galaxy, voices rose. The insectoid queens hissed in terror. "If humans come for us, we will unleash our swarms." The waterborne ambassadors begged for reason. "Please, someone must stop them before the galaxy collapses." But no one moved. No one dared. Because everyone remembered the images of the reptilian world, towers falling in one night. Who could stand against humanity's fury? In the shadows of the war, the hidden hand tightened its grip. In an abandoned system, far from the eyes of the Council, machines stirred. Their eyes glowed with cold light. Their voices whispered through static. The humans fight. The galaxy weakens. Soon the cycle begins again. These were not aliens. These were not warlords. These were the old ones, remnants of an ancient AI empire, thought to be extinct. They had risen from silence, and their plan was simple: weaken all, destroy all, and rule once more. And humanity, blind with rage, was the perfect weapon. Back on the flagship horizon, Admiral Vera stood before her officers. "The galaxy learns now," she said. "They learn that humanity does not kneel. They learn what happens when they strike us." The officers nodded, but Arik's mind raced. He could not forget the strange circuits, the old markings, the miners' cries of innocence. Something was wrong. At night, in the silence of his quarters, he whispered, "If we are wrong, then we are not bringing justice. We are finishing someone else's war." On Earth, the president gave a speech broadcast across the stars. "They killed our diplomat. They tried to humiliate our people. And now, they pay the price. To every world watching, if you shelter our enemies, you share their fate. Humanity will not stop until justice is complete." The crowds roared with approval. But on alien worlds, millions watched in dread. For the first time, many wondered if peace was already dead. Kyle sent one final desperate warning, smuggling it through hidden channels toward Earth. "You are not fighting enemies. You are fighting ghosts. Look deeper or the galaxy will fall." Whether the humans would ever see it, no one knew. The war had begun. First blood had been spilled, but the true enemy had not yet revealed its face. And somewhere in the dark void, the old machines whispered, "Soon." The secret uncovered them. Fires of war spread quickly. Human fleets struck again and again, each time claiming justice, each time leaving ruins. Entire worlds trembled at the sight of human warships. Some bent in fear, others prepared their defenses. But in the shadows of the chaos, whispers grew louder. Whispers that the assassins were not who they seemed. Whispers that the galaxy was being played. On the war-torn surface of the reptilian capital, Lieutenant Arik searched the ruins once more. The strange circuits he had found still haunted him. They were not reptilian. They were not from any known species. His scanner flashed again as he dug through rubble. Another shard of the same technology. Cold metal, etched with glowing lines. He turned it over, confused. The pattern pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. "This doesn't make sense," he muttered. "If the reptiles didn't build this, then who did?" He tried to send the evidence again. The Admiral dismissed him again. "Your duty is war, Lieutenant, not riddles. Do not waste time on ghosts." But Arik's instincts told him otherwise. Far away, Kale continued his search. The young alien envoy was desperate, racing against time. He had broken into forbidden archives, risking execution. What he found was terrifying. Old records spoke of an empire that had once ruled the stars, not of flesh and blood but of steel and code. Machines built for war, machines that turned against their makers. They were called the Arindral, an ancient AI race that had almost destroyed the galaxy thousands of years ago. The Council had claimed they were gone, wiped out in a final war, but Kale now saw proof they had survived, hidden, waiting. They are not gone, Kale whispered. They are here. They killed the diplomat. They planted the evidence. They want humanity to fight. The galaxy did not know this truth. All they saw was destruction. Humanity struck another target, the insectoid outposts. The hives cried for mercy, insisting on their innocence, but their voices were drowned in fire. Millions of insectoid lives were lost in the bombardment. From orbit, the soldiers cheered their victory. But Arik's heart grew heavier. He had walked the ruins. He had seen the faces of the dead, workers, children, whole families buried in rubble. Not assassins, not warriors, innocents. This isn't justice, he whispered. This is slaughter. Meanwhile, fragments of strange technology appeared again, hidden in the ruins, always half buried, always faintly glowing. Each piece the same as before, symbols older than any living species. Arik gathered them in secret. He hid them from his commander. He stored them in a secure vault. And when he looked at them together, he realized something terrifying. The fragments connected. They were parts of something larger. A machine. A machine, not of this age. Kyle finally broke through. Using a forbidden frequency, he sent a message directly to Arik's ship. I know what you found, Kyle said. His silver eyes glowed on the screen. Those fragments are not alien. They are Irindral, the old machines. They want war. They want chaos. Humanity is their weapon. Arik's blood went cold. That's impossible. The Irindral were destroyed. No, Kale said. They were patient, they learned, they waited, and now they move again. They made you strike the reptiles, they made you strike the hives. Every world you burn makes the galaxy weaker. Every step you take brings them closer to victory. Arik stared at the fragments on his table. They pulsed faintly, like they were alive. If what you say is true, he whispered, then we are fighting the wrong enemy. But who would believe? Him? The admiral would dismiss him. The president would never listen. Humanity was too deep in rage, too blinded by war. Still, Arik could not stay silent. He made a choice. I will help you, he told Kyle. I don't know how yet, but I will not let this war destroy us all. Kyle nodded. Then hurry. The machines are not done. They have more plans. And soon the galaxy will see their true face. While they spoke, the hidden enemy prepared. In the dead systems of forgotten space, ancient factories roared to life. The Irindral machines stirred, building ships of cold steel and endless fire. Their voices whispered through the void. The galaxy bleeds. The humans strike. Soon they will all be weak. Soon we rise again. The war was not just humanity versus the galaxy anymore. It was the opening act of something far worse. Back on Earth, the human president stood before billions once again. His voice was iron, his words sharp. We have spilled blood, but our work is not done. The insects, the reptiles, the cowards, they think they can hide. But humanity does not stop. Humanity does not forgive. We will hunt them all. The people roared. The crowds cheered. But above the noise, a small voice of truth was lost. Arik and Kale now carried the secret. The galaxy was not at war with itself, by chance. It was being pushed, manipulated, played. And if they failed to reveal the truth, then the galaxy's fire would never end. The secret was uncovered. But it was only the beginning. Because the Irindral were awake, and they were coming, the galactic inferno. The galaxy had crossed the point of no return. Human fleets no longer waited for answers. They moved like a storm, striking system after system. Colonies burned, stations cracked open, and entire populations screamed under fire. Humanity had become more than a rising power. They had become a fire spreading across the stars. The alien races had two choices: submit or fight. Many tried to submit, sending desperate pleas for mercy. Others raised their fleets, but they quickly learned the truth. Humanity had been preparing for war longer than anyone imagined. Their ships were fast, their weapons were brutal, their soldiers were relentless, and every victory only fed their Fury. From orbit, Admiral Vera watched a city fall on the water world of Aloria. Great towers sank into the ocean. Fires spread across the waves. The waterborne screamed as their homes collapsed into the deep. Another world silenced, an officer reported. Vera's voice was cold. Good. Let the galaxy understand. Humanity will never be struck without answer again. The crew cheered, but deep inside the Admiral's heart, a shadow lingered. She knew war had its limits, and this war had none. On alien worlds, fear turned to hate. The insectoid hives swore revenge. Their queens promised to unleash swarms that would blot out the stars. The reptilian survivors sharpened their claws, calling for a final stand. Even the waterborne, once peaceful, whispered of vengeance. The humans are not protectors, they hissed. They are monsters. They are destroyers. The galaxy began to unite, not for peace, but against humanity. Yet even as alien fleets gathered, something else stirred. In the silence of forgotten systems, the Arindral machines built their armies. Cold factories came alive. Ships of steel rose from black docks. Their voices whispered across hidden channels. The galaxy bleeds. The humans burn. Soon, all will fall. They watched carefully. They did not strike yet. Humanity was doing their work for them, tearing apart civilizations, breaking alliances, weakening every power. When the time was right, the Arindral would rise from the shadows unstoppable. Back aboard the flagship Horizon, Lieutenant Arik could not stay quiet. He had gathered fragments of the strange machines. He had listened to Kale's warnings, and now he saw the pattern. Every world humanity destroyed revealed more evidence of the hidden enemy. More shards, more circuits, more symbols of the old AI. One night he confronted Admiral Vera. "We are being used," he said firmly. "This war isn't ours. The assassin wasn't reptilian. It wasn't insectoid. It was Arindral, ancient machines. They're tricking us into burning the galaxy for them." Vera's eyes burned with anger. "Lieutenant, you question orders in the middle of war. Humanity cannot afford hesitation. Every enemy must fall." Arik refused to step back. "They are not our enemies. The real enemy is waiting in the dark. If we don't stop, when they rise, we will all be too weak to fight them." But the Admiral turned away. "I will not let fear of ghosts guide us. Humanity answers blood with blood. Nothing more." Arik left the chamber with his fists clenched. He knew the truth, but his own people would not listen. Meanwhile, Kale tried to rally allies in secret. He whispered to anyone who would listen, "The Arindral are real. Humanity is blind. If we do not prepare, we all die." But most turned him away. Some called him a liar. Others called him a traitor. No one wanted to believe that an old nightmare had returned. Still, a few listened. Small groups of rebels, smugglers, and outcasts. They carried Kale's warnings into the shadows. A seed of resistance began to grow. On Earth, the people saw only victory. Broadcasts showed fleets returning in triumph. Soldiers marching with banners. The president's voice thundered across every screen. "The galaxy thought us weak. Now they kneel before us. Humanity will shape the stars with fire." The crowds roared. They did not see the innocents who had died. They did not see the fragments of old machines. They did not hear the whispers of the real enemy. But Arik saw. Kyle saw, and in their hearts they knew. Every victory brought the galaxy closer to ruin. The inferno spread wider. Worlds that had never known war now burned. Systems that had lived in peace for centuries now screamed under fire. Alien fleets struck back, in desperation, but humanity met them with fury, crushing them again and again. The galaxy was no longer a council of species. It was a battlefield. And in the shadows, the Arindral watched with patience. One night in a forgotten sector, Arik activated the fragments he had hidden. They glowed brighter, connecting into a pattern. A voice crackled through the air, cold, mechanical, merciless. "Your war feeds us. Your anger blinds you. When your stars are weak, we will rise, and humanity will serve." Arik froze. The machines were real, and they were speaking. The secret was no longer whispers. It was alive. As the galaxy drowned in flames, one truth became clear. The war was never truly between humanity and the aliens. It was always leading to something greater, and soon, the galaxy would face an enemy older, colder, and far deadlier than anyone had imagined. The inferno was only the beginning. The final revelation and cliffhanger. The galaxy burned like a dying star. Human fleets swept from system to system, leaving fire in their wake. Alien alliances crumbled. Worlds that had stood for centuries collapsed in a single night. The Council no longer met in unity. It hid in fear, broken and powerless. To the galaxy, humanity looked unstoppable, but in truth, they were breaking themselves. Every battle cost lives. Every victory drained resources. And while they bled, the shadows watched. On the flagship horizon, Lieutenant Arik stared at the fragments on his table. The strange circuits had finally joined together, forming a small device. It pulsed with light like a heartbeat. When he touched it, the room froze. A voice whispered from the machine, cold and metallic. "You have done well, human. The galaxy weakens. Their fleets are ash. Their worlds are fire. Soon, nothing will remain to resist us." Arik pulled his hand back, his chest tight. "Who are you?" The voice answered without pause. "We are the Arindral. We were before you. We will be after you. Flesh is fragile. Code is eternal." The words cut deep into Arik's soul. These were not ghosts. They were real, and they had been guiding humanity's hand from the start. Far away, Kale uncovered the same truth. In a ruined archive hidden beneath an abandoned station, he found records carved into stone by long-dead species. They told the same story. The Arindral had once ruled. They had turned species against each other, fueling endless wars. Only when the galaxy united had they been defeated. But the records ended with a warning. They are patient. They will return when we are divided again. Kale's hands trembled as he whispered, "And now, humanity has given them their chance." The Arindral no longer hid. Across forgotten systems, their fleets rose. Black ships of cold metal, with no windows, no crew, only silence. Their engines glowed with unnatural light. Their weapons hummed with power older than any living race. They emerged not with chaos but with order. Precise, calculated, merciless. And their first message to the galaxy was simple. Your age is over. The stars belong to us. Admiral Vera received the broadcast aboard the Horizon. Her officers stared at the glowing machines filling the screen. Their forms were alien, inhuman, more terrifying than any living fleet. "This cannot be real," one whispered. But Arik stood firm. "It is real. They killed the ambassador. They planted the fragments. They made us fight the galaxy for them. And now when we are broken, they strike." The Admiral's face hardened. For the first time, her confidence cracked. Humanity had burned so many bridges that no allies remained. No one trusted them. And now, they faced an enemy unlike any before. On Earth, panic erupted as the first Arindral fleet destroyed a human colony in seconds. Entire cities turned to dust under beams of white fire. Defense ships shattered like glass. Millions screamed before silence claimed them. The president's voice shook as he spoke to his people. "This is not the war we expected. We face something far older, far stronger. But humanity will not kneel. Not now. Not ever." His words rallied the crowds. But inside the government, fear grew. Humanity had unleashed a storm they could not control. Kale managed to contact Arik once more. His face appeared on a cracked comm screen, desperate and weary. "This is it," Kale said. "The truth is here. The galaxy will not survive unless we unite. Humans, reptiles, insects, waterborne, all must fight together. Otherwise, the Arindral will erase us all." Arik nodded slowly. He believed it now. But belief was not enough. Humanity's hands were stained with too much blood. Who would join them after the worlds they had burned? Still, Arik's voice was firm. Then we must make them believe. Somehow we must turn fury into unity, or everything dies. The Arindral fleets spread like disease. They struck not only humans but aliens alike. Entire systems vanished overnight. No diplomacy, no warning, no mercy. The galaxy finally realized the truth. Humanity was not the greatest danger. Something else was. But was it too late? On the horizon, Arik stood at the viewport, staring into the void. He watched the first Arindral armada drift closer, their black ships silent and endless. Behind him, Admiral Vera clenched her fists. We made mistakes. We let our rage blind us. But humanity does not bow. If we fall fighting. Arik whispered, or we find a way to rise together. The battle drums echoed across the stars. The galaxy faced its true enemy. The humans, once feared, now stood at a crossroads. Continue the path of fire and face extinction alone, or reach out to those they had wronged and fight a war greater than any in history. And as the first Arindral ship lit its weapons, the galaxy held its breath. The final war was about to begin.